How we doing, everybody? All right, we are live, 4 o'clock, Master Spas. Can we please get a sound check? And if you hop on, where are you watching from? Say hello, say something. We have lots of questions today, so this is a hot topic, Kim.
Yeah, Kim is on.
Chip, what's up, dude? Charlie, sounds good. I appreciate that. All right, our heat is running. It's very cold here in Connecticut. The weather has been terrible.
We can't. Don't say too much because poor Kim. It's even colder there.
I know.
I'm sorry, Kim.
So yeah. So I was looking. You know, on an iPhone anyway. When you look at the weather, like there's places that we go all the time, and I just keep them in the weather so that I can scroll through. And I was flipping through, and it got to Fort Wayne this morning, and it was 3. So we're actually warmer in Connecticut in the Northeast than Master Spa's Fort Wayne at headquarters.
It was like 10 degrees warmer, I think, this morning. I think it said 13.
It was, yeah. We were 13. Yeah, we were 13. They were 3. 3 is a whole different thing. Hello from Fort Wayne. Hi, Kim. Hey, everybody. All right, snowy Spokane, Washington. How do you say that? Probably.
I think you're right.
Spokane, Washington. That's cool. Guy, Judy, Beverly. How's everybody doing? There's 17 people on there.
I scratched my ear with my wet finger. It's driving me crazy.
That was dumb. So Mary and I, before we went live, we were discussing it, all the things that made me angry today. And every single one of them was someone else or an animal. None of it was me or my actions. It was all in response to, and that's probably a bigger problem with me, but my goodness. All right. Washington's a hot spot today. Baltimore. Judy, that's cool. Military Dog Handlers is watching. That's fun. In the other room, we've got a Mal and a German Shepherd. They're both on the naughty list right now, or one of them is. All right, Calgary. Balmy 23 right now in Lafayette, Indiana.
25 here, so.
Rick, a balmy 23 now in Lafayette, Indiana, up 230% from this morning.
Hey, that's a good way of looking at it.
Right. All right. Richardson, Texas. And Texas had some cold weather too. It's all over the place. Wisconsin. Yeah. All right, so we got some cold climates here. The cold questions are, yeah. All right. All right. Alabama. Calgary was -40 this past weekend.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's rough. That's a whole different thing. I went to Winnipeg once.
No, I don't
and
think
Mary was not there. This was probably going on almost 10 years ago. I was in Winnipeg and it was, minus 30, 40, 50. We're from the Northeast. It's cold here, single digits, but that's really about it. We don't get that crazy negative here. We really just don't. And everyone thinks it's terrible here, but it's way worse there. And even Fort Wayne typically is colder than it is here, and then Wisconsin and all along there, upper Michigan, and then into Minneapolis and North Dakota. It's so freaking cold. Not fun for our poor hot tub. It can handle it. All right. Welcome everybody. It's good to see everybody. Lots of people 5 below last night. Obviously there's common ground. We're all on the same page with cold weather, and none of us want it.
Yeah.
All right. Michigan 21 feels like 5 up 10 degrees. Yeah, that's I'm done. Looks at, oh my God. High from Katy, Texas, finally above 30 in Texas. It's supposed to be warm there. Oh my God. This is crazy.
It wasn't too bad I think it was got to 70 today, maybe 68 in Florida.
And where your parents are?
Where my parents are.
Mary's parents are in Boca. Utah, 14 below last night.
Yesterday was 85 though, so.
85?
Yeah.
Poor things. All right. Okay. So, where are we starting with?
So, yeah, we wanted to come on because...
You come up. I'm going to warm my hands.
We've been... lots of questions on Master Spa's owners group and questions that have been coming in on Facebook and Instagram about what to do now that it's cold, especially this week because it is this terrible polar vortex, whatever is going on here. So what to do with your hot tub, what to do with your swim spa because it is so cold out in so many different areas. And lots of you, that's why you got a swim spa and a hot tub, so that you can enjoy some comfort in this terrible weather. So some of the things that we just want to talk about is that one of the major things is that the way that master spas are designed, the way that they're insulated, the cover, like the standard cover that comes with it, they are all designed so that you can keep your hot tub or swim spa up and running all year round, especially in the winter when it's really cold. That open cell insulation is meant to keep all of that heat in, and your cover is going to seal the tub as well as it possibly can. I mean, it's a cover, it's, you know, it comes on and off, so there could be some you know, heat or moisture escape, but it does a really good job of keeping that heat and moisture in. So we encourage people to use your hot tub and swim spa by Master Spas all year round. And we do realize that there are some concerns, but it's made for it. So keep the temperature where you like to use it. That's one thing that we do recommend, because especially when it's really cold, if you drop the temperature and then raise, drop and raise, drop and raise, every time you're raising, it's going to use more energy to get up to temperature because of how well it's insulated than it would just to maintain the temperature. You will actually use more energy up and down than just maintaining. And, you know, so you keep it at the temperature that you like, and then you're more likely to get in, whether it's your hot tub or your swim spa. But your swim spa, if it's a temperature that you feel good about getting in, you're going to get in and use it. So those are some recommendations. And it is, if it's really hot in your water and really cold outside, you're going to have some additional evaporation, so just keep that in mind. You may need to add some water at some point in the winter. That is just normal. You know, when you're losing heat in the evaporation, you're going to need, that means you're losing some water. So you will need to maybe refill, add some water. And another thing to consider is, you know, we have a lot of people who winterize, and that is totally fine. You know, people always ask me, do you recommend winterizing? And really, I think Ben would agree, the only time I really ever recommend winterizing is if you are a snowbird and you're away from your swim spa or your hot tub for, 4 or 6 months at a time because you are in Florida or somewhere else warm. For that, I am jealous. But if you have someone who can take care of it, it's better to leave it up and running. But if you do need to winterize it, it's really best to have it done, winterized professionally, to have those lines blown out and filled with antifreeze. But, in the research that we've done in the past, we have found that pumps and components just last longer when it's wet. Like a car. Your car.
Want me to take that?
Yeah, your car will need to, be started a lot during the winter time. You don't want to just leave it idle for a long time. So same type of thing.
Or you're plugging in the battery. So we have everything on battery charger. Let's see. We had a question.
We do have a couple questions coming in. So,
Lori, but when gone for 6 weeks without negative with negative outside temperatures, shouldn't the spa water be lowered to 80? So I think I probably would. I mean, there's no rule on it. Everyone's going to have a varying opinion. I think I would. Obviously, if something breaks in a hot tub, that happens to happen at that time, that temperature is not going to put any more strain on anything than there is during regular cold temperatures. So you turn it down to 80, you should be fine. There's no reason to be concerned about that. Yeah, I mean,
if you're not going to be there and using it, there's no need to keep it up at that temperature.
If it were me and I were going away for the entire winter, I would turn it to 80 here, and I would go. And I would, ask someone to come every couple of weeks and hit it and take a little care of it. If you're using a Frogger, the dichlor Frogger system, you don't even really have to check it much. So it's, and they have the new ones for swim spas, which I'll have more information on soon. I'm about to get them for myself. Let's see. So Lori, I would do that.
Yeah. What I'm referring to is people always ask, like, should I lower it every night after I use it?
No, right.
And you don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want to lower it every night. That's for sure. It's not even going to cool off anyway. Okay. Guess what? While away, the chemicals stayed balanced. Lori, that's actually quite common because the sunlight can mess with water. When there's no humans in there, you're not bringing stuff in. So if the water was set up and then, and you had the filters clean and you can go away for 6 weeks, that water can maintain. You open it up, hit it with a little bit of shock, hit it with some chlorine, you're good to go. So it's very common that happens. Yeah. Lori, what did you do with your filter cycles? Where did you have them set? I'd be curious to know that. Not judging you, I'm super curious what you did. That's all. All right. But yeah, it doesn't, Lori, that actually doesn't surprise me. So, I mean, we've done plenty of things where, and if the water is old and crappy and then all of a sudden you're like, it's not really that great, just change it, but whatever. So.
And maybe wait for a week that it's not the polar vortex to change it. But one thing that we did...
I can't run fast enough to get in or out of the spot.
Right, that is
30
true.
degrees,
Yeah.
yes you can, come on. It's way worse everywhere else.
One thing that we did learn this week in talking about this topic too is that if it snows, you do want to get the snow off your cover. So, obviously just depending on the type of snow, use a snow blower or a broom of some type, a push broom, just to make sure that you're getting, it is made to have snow on top of it, but you don't want to leave it on top for days on end. It could eventually damage your cover, especially if the snow is really heavy snow or anything like that. So we do want to recommend that if it snows, when you get a chance to get outside, just to blow that snow off, and that will help with the longevity of your cover as well. So.
All right, hang on.
Okay, a couple more questions coming in.
Now they're gonna. Lori, 2 hours, 4 to 6, 2 hours, 8 to 10. Perfect.
Oh, awesome.
Valerie, I can't seem to fit a heater as recommended should the electrical fail. What else can I do? I've frozen Alberta. I don't know if I got it. So who knows what can happen. So, I mean, it's got to be a small, depending on the tub. Valerie, what tub do you have? I don't know that I would keep one in there in case something failed because it's a sort of a fluke when it happens. I mean, we don't really see it that often. I don't know that I would address it until it were an actual problem. So I don't know that I would do that, but I know that people do recommend that. And obviously, you're getting cold temperatures way past what we see here. So I honestly don't know that I would do that until there was a problem. Let's see.
And that is something, so we do have that question a lot about what to do if you lose power for several days in a row. One of the things is if it's a power, you lost power and it comes back the next, that night or the next day, don't do anything. Your swim spa, your hot tub will be fine. It's again very well insulated. It can hold it. It will hold the temperature warm enough that you don't have to worry about freezing. The worst thing that you can do is drain the hot tub or the swim spa.
You're guaranteed to have a problem.
So you want to really strive to keep that water in. But if it's going on several days and you still have no power to it, some of the things that are recommended, like what Valerie just said, is to get a small space heater, plug it into a generator where it's only just 110, and heat the inside, put it on the inside of the cabinet.
And that's only in case of some kind of a failure.
Right.
So if it's just cold outside, even that cold, just run it.
Right, we're talking about power outage.
Yeah, power outage.
And another strategy is to use a painter's lamp, one of those clip-on lamps that get really hot, and it actually will generate enough heat inside the cabinet with the insulation that it'll keep the water warm enough that you don't have to worry about freezing.
That was what we were told always from all the old school gurus. But Kirk, who is the customer service, god, he likes
a little space heater.
And his vantage point. Every dealer has tons of experience. right where they're at and over lots of years. Kirk's viewpoint is very broad, so
Yeah.
he has the benefit of tons of information, and so his recommendations come from there, and they're pretty strong. Christina said, so having negative 35 to negative 40 weather for a week, would lowering the temp to 80 be a good idea? Because that temp not using the tub until it warms up. You certainly can. I mean, there's no reason to keep at 101. It doesn't, or 100. It doesn't make any difference. If the tub is working, it's working. It's going to maintain 80. It's going to work less hard to maintain 80 degrees than it is 100 in those extreme temperatures. Would definitely save you money on your electric bill. And if you're not going in there anyway, so just keep that in mind when you have to warm it back up. For a week, I don't know that I would bother. For a month, I'd probably bother. So for a week, I don't know that I would even bother turning it down, honestly. Let's see. I've heard that the inlets for each pump should be closed when not, in order to reduce the interaction. Hang on. So when you guys see me like sort of staring at the phone like a moron, when someone puts a big comment on there, it reads like a couple lines and then see more, and I'm always like fiddling with it. So I'm not just like an idiot. I am an idiot, but this is, in this case, I'm actually not. And like right now, I'm pressing the see more button and it's not working at all. Okay, you're in. Oh, got it.
Oh, got it.
I've heard that the inlets for each pump should be closed when not in use in order to reduce the interaction with very cold external air. I'm not sure I understand. So when you say air inlets, I'm assuming you mean the air valve up on the top, like those.
The small valves.
Actually, you can see that one right
there.
There. It's backwards. That right there. You close those, and that's what they're talking about. Okay, Tom? And yeah, you can absolutely do that. Okay, what if power loss during multiple days below freezing? How to protect plumbing lines when no heat? So, Brenda, if there's no heat, when you put the tub will maintain temperature for days. The only part that's at risk when the power goes off, and somewhat quick, especially in those extreme temperatures, if the wind is blowing, it can make that happen a little faster, is where you would put that heater. So this is what we're talking about. You open up the cabinet, put the heater in there, and then run it off a generator, and then close the cabinets really tightly back up, so you just have the cord sticking out of there. And that's what they're talking about. And that heat in there will give you days and days and days. That's all you need to protect the plumbing. Okay, and that's it. It works really, really well. All right. Carol, we lost power over the weekend and fired up our generator within the hour. How long can it last without power? So obviously it depends on the temperature and the wind. I can't answer that without a little bit more information, and even still is sort of a guess. But if you fire up the generator and put that little mini heater in there, it will last a long time. I mean, it will take a long time for that tub to get down to a freezing temperature if it's sealed up tightly. And don't open. It's like when the power went off when we were kids. Your mom said, "Don't open the fridge." That's what they were talking about. Same. So, but a long time, days and days, many days. Best solution for removing snow on cover: 2 tarps, then simply pull them off when you want the snow to go. Oh, absolutely. We've had a lot of people do that. I have a swim spot at the house, kind of a pain in the butt, and I honestly, I'm too vain to look at I want it prettier. So I'll.
Well, you use a bleh.
I use a blower. If it's like the frozen stuff, I'll get a broom or a piece of wood, something that's going to be gentle. I won't use a metal snow shovel. Let's see. Laura, I have 15D. Gotcha. Okay. Let me double check that.
I'm gonna grab my phone too, because we had a bunch of questions that came in, and it's already halfway. Okay.
Okay. Yes, lots of questions coming in. Thank you. Lots of people on. 51. Yes, the air valve, Tom. Yep. Close that. Absolutely. What do we got?
Okay, one question is from Steve in Saskatchewan. How cold is too cold? What was that noise?
Mary is asking what that noise was, and what that noise is all the ice falling off of my truck in the background.
Okay. How cold is too cold to go for a hot tub? Negative 55 this week.
To go out in it?
I think that's a personal thing. I mean, I don't. Is it?
I don't know if there's an actual answer to that. It's a great question. I would like to know the answer. I know that back in the day, all the Winnipeg folks, they were out year round. So I know it's tough to take, and you got to.
I was gonna say, I think it's how brave you are.
I think you need to be hardy at 55 degrees below zero. I think you need to be hardy person to do that, because no matter how warm you are, when you get out at that temperature, the water is going to start to freeze on you very quickly. Yeah. So yeah, you're moving.
Yeah,
I don't know the answer to that, but I do
sure.
want to know the answer to that.
They have those like tubs. They're like little, I don't know, like baskets that are heated, and you can put your towel in
Rick
there.
said, talk about pain in the butt, putting more water in this time of year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Huge pain in the ass. Yes,
know.
Rick, that is a mouthful. Let's see. Do you recommend the use of a thermal or solar blanket? I will say this, Christina, a good friend of ours who is a service tech for 30 years, 25, 30 years, said that a solar cover underneath the cover did actually make a big difference.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say yes on that. I have not done it myself because I'm lazy and busy. That's a confusing set of descriptions, but that's what I am, lazy and busy. So I haven't done it, but I hear good things about it, and I trust him. So I'm going to say yes on that. Tom, one more to follow up. Can the circulation pump still operate correctly with the air valve closed? Yes, absolutely. Sean, hey guys, hello. Filters ran 2 hours twice a day. What would you do, and would it differ with different outside air temps? Also, please explain. No. Vacation mode, no, it wouldn't change at all. The outside air temp wouldn't change at all. I was just curious. When I was asking about your filter cycles, Lori, I was more talking about how much filtration was taking place and the water was moving in regards to when you were away for your water clarity. Obviously, the tub did a good job of taking care of the water, so I was just curious where you're at, and there was nothing behind my question other than curiosity. Let's see. I saw someone on Facebook with frozen hair standing up in a swim spot. I saw that. And what did he call himself? He had the hair frozen. What did he call? He called himself.
I don't know. I didn't see it.
I saw that picture, Charlie.
There's like a whole.
I saw that. I know the picture. Like spiky hair, like this, and frozen.
Yeah, there's like a whole. I saw like a whole, like a photographer did it with a whole bunch of people who were doing that. Okay. We have a question from Alyssa in Iowa, and actually, I've seen this question also come up on the Master Spas owners group.
What do we got?
We've had snow, ice, wind, and below zero temps, and there is some ice buildup on my spa on the edge under the cover flap. Is there a way to prevent it, or is it okay?
It's okay. I'm sure. I'm certain I have it right now, especially after the weird. It's not going to hurt anything. When it warms up, it'll go right away.
Yeah.
If you wanna just tap it lightly and break a little of it off, you can. But there's no real concern there at all.
And kind of in that same.
My mother said our water is low too. Blame Papa. Gary, what did you do?
This is from Elaine in Michigan. We have a substantial coating of ice that just developed on our cover and snow on top of that. Is there a safe way to remove it? Or is it best to leave it until the temps rise and it melts on its own? You definitely want to take that off, and like if you've got a big push broom, because you've got that ice there, try to get it off using something like that. Or maybe like blow the snow off and then push
when it's powdery,
off.
You can use a leaf blower. It works amazing.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Like Ben said, you just don't want to use like a
Netherlands, awesome. You're doing a great job. Greetings.
Shovel.
Greetings to you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next question. I think we've answered it a few times now. William in Arkansas, what to do if the power stays off for a long period? Get a little space heater, plug it in the generator, and put it on the inside of the cabinet, but make sure that you seal that cabinet back up so that the heat stays in. Next question is Steve in Texas. How do you winterize if you don't want to use it and do not have water in it. I drain both motors and put a light inside the skirted area. I'm not where our spot is for the entire winter in Texas. So Steve, because the past few years you've had some pretty extreme temperatures, I would really recommend winterizing it.
Antifreeze.
So you would need to blow out the lines completely and put antifreeze in them, because as it's 30 degrees in Katy, Texas right now, and that would freeze your pipe. So you want to do a little bit more than the light inside the skirted area, because those pipes could freeze if it's really cold and it's empty. If it was full, that would be something different because you've got the water in there. But if it's empty, put that antifreeze in there. And that really is for anyone who's not going to keep water in, especially in the winter, unless you're, in Key West or something. You want to.
Where do you want to? Where is your mind right now, Mary? Key West. That was random.
You definitely want to keep that. Keep the pipes with antifreeze to protect them.
Rick said, back to putting more water in. Our dealer said to go ahead and fill above the max line so you don't have to put water in as frequently. Yes. That dealer is smart. Smarty pants. Yes, do that. I would do that.
Kevin in Texas, does lowering the temperature setting conserve power? So again, we mentioned this.
Say that again.
Does lowering the temperature conserve power?
Yes.
So, it does depend. If you're using your hot tub all the time, lowering it at night or for a day, and then the next day you're raising it back up, is not going to conserve energy. So if you're using your hot tub or your swim spa daily, like I said earlier on the live, leave it at the temperature, because it doesn't necessarily use energy to drop, but to raise it. And so if you're constantly raising it, especially if it's really cold, it's going to use more energy than if you maintain it. So if you, we've talked about this a few times now on the live with a few people. So
you would only turn it down if you weren't getting in there.
Right. Oh, here, this is a fun one.
Okay, they're coming in here too.
Okay, go ahead.
David, I just got on, and you may have answered, what do I do if I lose power? Okay. You're going to run a generator and a small heater and put it inside the A side of your hot tub or swim spa. That's where all your pumps and controls are. Turn it on, button the cabinet back up tight, and do not open the cover. And it will save the day.
Okay, I have a Master Spa LSX 700 in Anchorage, Alaska. When draining and
700?
Yeah.
Awesome.
When draining and refilling a hot tub in freezing conditions, what is the best cleaner to clean or polish the shell in those cold temperatures? Is there any cleaner that can take care of waterline scum in freezing conditions that doesn't affect the hot water chemistry? And if draining a hot tub and storing it at freezing temps, what's the best way to do it? Okay. Windex vinegar cleaner works amazingly. If you need a little bit of traction on that water scum, just use a Mr. Clean Magic Erase.
Gentle.
Gentle, and if you actually do that when the water is in it, that whatever is there will just really easily come off. But the vinegar cleaner is really great, smells good, it does wonders on your hot tub. And again, just reiterating, antifreeze in your lines if you're draining.
We'll go back and forth.
Okay.
Carol, without a generator or availability of an external heater, how long after power goes off and tub left alone before we have a problem in, say, 0 degrees? So, Carol, I asked this very same question to Kirk in customer service, and there was an old myth or story or belief that went around in the hot tub circles for years on modern well-insulated hot tubs that you had 4 days. Where it came from, I'm not exactly sure, but that was always the talk. So I asked that question to Kirk, who sits at the mountaintop of all the information. All right, and he said,
I hope Kirk is listening.
He said that there can be a couple of days, but the wind actually will have an effect which way the hot tub is facing. So there's still a lot of variables in there. Certainly you have some time, but he's seen in 0 is obviously very cold, but there are places that if you stay on this live or read through some of these comments, there are places that are much colder. So, at that 0 degrees, I would say you want to get something done as quickly as you can, get something handled, but I don't know that I can give a time frame because every scenario is different. If the wind is ripping, you're going to have less time. If there's no wind and it's just zero, but the sun comes out during the day, you might have, a day or maybe two, best case scenario. So it just depends. And it's not the water in the hot tub. That's not going to cool down. It's the plumbing in the A side. That's the only concern at that point, because the water in the hot tub, you have days before that cools down. So if you could somehow move the water and cycle through, that would help. If you had a heater go out but still had power, you could run the pumps and it will never freeze. Keep it closed, run the pumps, it will never freeze. So you just depends on the situation. Tough to answer because every scenario is different, so there's no hard fit. It's not like a chart that we have. If we were to test that in our chambers, it would be under a perfect measured situation, and then we would know, but every single hot tub would be different too. So every shape, every plumbing piece, it would be like nearly impossible to gather that much data. I realize that's not a great answer, but basically if it's zero and the wind is whipping, you don't have a lot of time on that. Some of the plumbing can start to freeze. That stuff can be repaired. So, all right. Lisa, no, your turn, Mary, go.
This is from David in Ontario. What is the best method for preventing vermin from making a nice, cozy, warm home under your swim spot? So a few different suggestions. You can put chicken wire in any little area that you think they might be able to get in, or you can also stuff that area with bronze wool or steel wool and then cover it with chicken wool, or just put bronze wool,
chicken wire,
stuff it up there. This was an interesting one that I saw recently. Put fake snakes around where you think they are, and people have said that works, but some other people said it hasn't. So I would stick with the bronze wool. Just in any crevice that you think that they can get in, just stuff it in there.
Stuff it in.
Go ahead.
All right. Lisa, struggling with cloudy water and it's too cold to empty and refill. We have shocked it, but still cloudy. Yes. Lisa, take a test strip, stick it in there, read the test strip, adjust your alkalinity first, then your pH, and when those are set, chlorinate the heck out of it.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't worry about your shock right now. You need chlorine.
Cindy from Washington. Pressing controls are slow to respond, if at all. The plastic seal has been breached. Is this due to weather? It could be. It could also be that maybe there's some moisture inside. That would probably be a service call. I would definitely call your local dealer and maybe have a service guy come out and take a look at that.
For sure.
It could be any of those things, but it shouldn't happen. So
Beverly, hello from Englehart, North Carolina. Hello, Beverly. Kenny said, once you learn your spots, pure cruise control, my water is never cloudy. This is also true. Let's see. The snow isn't the problem, but we have a large layer of ice adhered to the cover with continued freezing temperatures. I'm trying to hit the stupid see more button. Mary? Oh, got it.
got it.
With continued freezing temps, afraid we will damage the cover trying to scrape the ice layer off. So it's one of those things. If it's thin, I know the official answer is to get everything off of there as quickly as you can. I'm not always the fastest to get it off of there. I'm sure there's a layer of thin snow or ice on mine right now. I am not going to do it when I get home because it sucks outside. So I'm going to leave that. I realize that, that's the best recommendation is what we're officially telling you to do, but I'm not perfect. I've never been a very good boy. You can ask my mother, she's on here. So I'm going to do it my way. What I would definitely say is don't do anything that's going to damage the cover, because that guarantees you damage the cover, whereas leaving a small amount of snow or ice on there is probably not going to. I mean, it can happen. A big bunch of snow and ice on there will weigh enough to damage it, but that's my 2 cents on there, Elaine. I realize I'm going to get a vigorous spanking later for that, but that's what I'm going to do. And I don't plan on having anyone come over to my house to remove that ice for me. So, general question. After shocking, fires the cover always open for 15 minutes? Lori, possible to open just a part of the cover? General question. I'm trying to decipher your voice texting, Lori. General question. After shocking, does the cover always have to be open for 15 minutes? Possible to open part of the cover? In a perfect world, you'd open up the whole thing so that you don't get any trapped gases on the end, because it is, Lori, you have a 15D, which is, this is a Challenger 15D, but it's big. So you could get some trapped air in there. So in a perfect world, I would open up the whole thing, but if you can't, it's certainly better than nothing. Leave the water running and leave a section open, and as the water's passing by, hopefully it's escaping. So that should be fine.
As long as you're not doing it every single time, I guess.
Lori's putting the words in there. Lori, it was more fun to decipher it. Just leave it. Just leave it. Everyone on this live knows damn well that when the words come in wrong like that, someone's voice texting or autocorrect, and it makes it fun. I'm getting to the point where I'm not changing them anymore on purpose. All right. Joy. I put plumbing pipe wrap insulation around all the pipes that aren't covered in spray foam. It gets down to -30, and I haven't had an issue with freezing. You wouldn't have an issue with freezing if it was running anyway, but anything you can do, always, plumbing pipe insulation works. That's why it exists, and that's why plumbers put it in. Okay, we caught up. Just curious where you are. We are in Cheshire, Connecticut. Inside, obviously. And I live in Woolkit, Connecticut, where my swim spot is outside. Lori, again, got it. Leave it. It's much more fun that way. What's the best cover? Wow. Okay, this is the last question on here. Do we have more?
No, that's
okay.
I'm done.
Okay, so perfect. So what is the best cover? That's a big question. That is a very subjective question. So you've got the original, well, I don't want to say original, the snow load covers, the regular pitched, 4-section foldable
that
covers.
Typically come standard.
Yeah, they come standard. The new ones are Sunbrella material, which I don't have. I'm waiting for them to magically show up at my house, but I don't have them yet. They're really nice. They're 27% lighter than the vinyl cover, which is the one that I've got. They're really sharp looking. It's great. Material's great. It feels good when you open it. It's great. So I do like that with cover lifters. So I like a hydraulic cover lifter and the folding cover. We do have new Access roll covers that are coming out, and that'll be released in, I want to say, a month or two. Don't quote me on that, but I don't think they're quite ready yet, but they're almost ready. And those are pretty neat too. So I like those ones. The new ones are nice. They did a great job. They're lighter. They're really sharp looking, but it's definitely not going to be as energy efficient as the thicker snow covers. So am I telling you to have two? No. And then you've got like some leisure concept, smart covers. You've got the Covana. It's a little bit of personal preference in there, so it's tough to answer. But for me at my house, and I could have any of them, I have the snow load cover, the 4-place, the foldable with hydraulic cover lifters is my go-to. All right. David, we use the tub almost every night. Will snow or rain screw up the chemistry of the pool given the acidity? So if you're saying if it's open and it's raining, because obviously you're closing it in between use, I don't think so. I don't think that's a thing. I think that when you have a swimming pool and it's raining all day in there and the surface is way bigger, I've never heard of that being an issue. So I'm going to say no on that. I don't think so. Okay?
But when you're done,
test strip.
Cover it.
Cover it, test strip it, make sure. Christina, yes, using the one that came with tub that is 5 inches thick in the middle, 3 on the edges, folds in half.
It's definitely going to be one of the most efficient ways to cover your...
Was looking a vinyl cover. Thoughts? A vinyl was looking... Christina, I don't quite understand exactly. I'll need you to clarify that a little bit. I prefer the Sunbrella material, the new material. If you have the Sunbrella material and you have a 15-footer and you want the vinyl cover, let's trade.
Yeah.
She's like,
vinyl
no
covers
way.
is much
Ass.
heavier.
Yeah, it's heavier.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we're good. 440. I think we're good.
Yeah. So
That was a lot. That was like pure. The whole live was pure questions. I don't know.
that's great.
Is that ever happened like that?
I don't know. I mean, we did start off a little bit, but I mean, this is
Awesome.
this is what we're here for, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why we come on, and we want you to come and bring us your concerns and questions, and we want to make sure that you're loving and using your master spas. So this is a way to help you to do that.
Charlie, I'm a little concerned about the Sunbrella cracking when I close it if it's frozen. Never heard of it. Never heard of it happening.
Yeah.
So I don't think you should be. I wouldn't be. They're great.
And when it's better weather, you can use a 303 outdoor fabric protectant.
So
that will help.
Valerie said back to cloudy water. Have shocked, have chlorinated, but it persists. What other than draining and refilling? You skipped a big hunk of what I said to do in there. So alkalinity and pH, if those aren't perfect, the chlorine won't work. So you cannot skip a step. You have to read this book all the way through and do your report card. You can't skip to the end and then take the test. Okay, you have to read every chapter. So test strip, alkalinity first, and you don't move on to pH until the alkalinity is done, then the pH, and then you chlorinate, then you turn your filter cycles up and leave it for a day or two for it to clear and maintain that chlorine level with proper pH and alkalinity. If it's not ever going to clear. Okay? Still coming in. Per the question, open cover using shock. What if you use a non-chlorine shock?
It still needs to off gas.
Yeah. So it's an oxidizer. It off gases into the air. So the whole point of shocking, shock removes, chlorine kills. So you kill the stuff with chlorine and it stays in the water. Then you shock and it dissipates and oxidizes into the air.
Like chemistry speaking, you need air to oxidize. So if you're
but it's part of like the
yeah.
word.
So if you have your cover closed after putting shock and the cover really does seal it, there isn't enough air for it to work, for it to oxidize appropriately. So
Kenny said buy a drops kit and dump the strips. If that works for you, I don't have it.
That too.
I mean the cold tubs. Yeah, I use the regular strips. The cold tubs use that. I mean, Kenny, most of the time people are skipping a step, or they're leaving something out when they describe. I'm not saying Val was, but there's always a reason. And the test strips, if there are 400,000 hot tubs produced a year industry wide, and they're all using 390,000 of those are using test strips, they work. But there's usually someone is skipping a step.
User error is different than.
So with covers, thicker the better. Christina, if snow is not melting on there, there's no more to have. No more benefit from thicker. Eventually it's a diminishing return. Or using expired strips, that's for sure. All right. Okay, we're done. Wrapping up. Keep them coming. We'll be back on.
And we'll be back in 2 weeks, which I think is the 31st of January. So at least 1 month of cold down. So we will see everybody in 2 weeks. Again, if you have any questions, just post them. We'll take a look and answer them later.
Jarrett!
And if you have any, that you just want to shoot into Master Spas, just
absolutely
let us know. We'll get them.
Absolutely. All right, guys.
Have a great
Be
night.
good. Stay warm.
Yes.